I'm Stephen Brute, the Wikipedian with over 3 million edits. Ask me anything. I'm Stephen Brute, Wikipedia username Sarah Mancio Di Nicaleo, and I was featured on CBS Saturday Morning a few weeks ago due to the fact that I'm the top editor, by edit count, on the English Wikipedia. Several people have asked me to do an AMA since the piece aired, and I'm happy to acquiesce, but today's really the first time I've had a free block of time to do one. I'll be here for the next couple of hours and promise to try and answer as many questions as I can. I know you'll require proof. I hope this does it, otherwise I will have taken this totally useless selfie for nothing. Fire away. How did you learn about Wikipedia? PS. Thank you for all of your edits on Wikipedia. I'm sure you've helped countless people. It started in 2001. I matriculated college in 2002. I remember watching it climb in the Google search results, from the bottom of the first page to about 2 or 3 from the top. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to take off, but it kept showing up, and one day I thought, what the hell, and jumped in. I'm not sure I believed the anyone can edit part of it, until I became part of everyone. Have you ever been approached with an offer from a person or company, to create or change a page or pages, to view more favorably or unfavorably? I've had a couple of people ask me to create articles for them. 1 or 2 have offered to pay me. Generally I will say no. I said yes once, but that was because I genuinely felt the subject deserved an article and would pass the notability test. Didn't take any money for it, I should add. Someone I'd never heard of before. What was the one that you did? There was an auction of his effects, and the auctioneer asked me if I'd mind creating an article. In this case I said yes, because he looked like the sort of person I'd probably write about sooner or later, assuming I found him in my research. Most importantly, he has work in the Nelson Atkins, a major museum. Sorry, maybe a stupid question, but do they provide all of the information, or do you tend to add some stuff yourself? If so, where do you research? Wikipedia. JK about that last part. And thank you. Oh, no. I did the research myself. Don't remember where, offhand, whatever's in the sources. I do recall finding an online dictionary of Kansas artists which I wanted to pursue further, but never got around to it. Damn, Daniel. You do the research without taking a penny. You're a hero. Do you take users, not companies, requesting an article to be made if it doesn't exist? No, generally, I don't answer most such requests. Do you do this for free? And if so, why? Yep. Wikipedia's a free community. It wouldn't feel right asking for money to edit. It's a hobby. One that has taken over my life a bit, but a hobby nonetheless. Will you be on my team for a pub quiz? Depends on what you're drinking. Close bracket. Do you set goals or time limits on yourself? Sometimes. Not often. I'll work on an article, as long as it takes to get it right. Was there ever a point when you just sat back and asked yourself why you were putting this much time and effort in? I have my moments. I think everyone does. But then I look back on some of the articles I've written, especially on subjects that have had no online presence before, and it feels good. That wonderful feeling of having made something useful. That's what keeps me going, often as not. Besides, I know it sounds cheesy, but I've come to believe that we, collectively, are changing the world in the way the world thinks about knowledge. That's an amazing thing to think about, and it still blows my mind. You sound like a really good guy. You didn't deserve any of the hate you were getting on Twitter. You're doing a great service for everyone. You're very kind. Thanks. What's that line about pleasing some of the people all of the time, and all? I long ago came to grips with the fact that I won't be universally loved. Twitter just means universal is a bit bigger than it used to be. Close bracket. Hey Steven. As someone who have always struggled with writing and a feeling of never understanding textbook information to a point, I just want to really thank you. Wikipedia has taught me so much, and always in a way that challenged me and at the same time made me better and more informed. Who gives a shit if I'm reading about the Holocaust or Power Rangers? I'm learning. For free. You are among the great pioneers of the internet. I applaud you. And that's why Wikipedia is important, and why I think it's important to contribute. Thanks very much for the kind words. Complete noob here. Is it simple, Ash, to author a new page? That was one of my favorite parts about grad school. The fact that what I was learning and what I was researching didn't have a wiki page one could turn to. I'm interested in contributing my small but specific bit of knowledge to the world in some way. Reasonably. I think it's more difficult than it used to be to get into the syntax, but there are some tools, Visual Editor, for instance, designed to make it easier for people to hop in. My recommendation? Open up a few articles and start editing them. Little syntax fixes, spelling fixes, that sort of thing. That's how I learned to do it when I got started. Do you have a favorite article? Of my own. Pohik Church. I didn't create it, but I expanded it considerably. I also often refer to Jonah Quiner. She's a fascinating figure about whom I knew nothing before beginning to write her up. Others, including a few mentioned elsewhere, but these are the first that come to mind. What do you normally do to research articles? Depends. I'll search stuff out in books or online, wherever I can find something. Often I'll look something up online and that will start me down the path. Other times I'll see something in a book and run with it. Depends very much on the topic. Is it hard to read with a post-it note on your head? And do you frequently change the post-it notes? Every day. It gets difficult choosing an acronym, though. How do you motivate yourself when someone rejected your edits? If someone reverts an edit I've made, I try not to sweat it. In the grand scheme of things it doesn't matter that much. I figure either A, it was worthwhile, in which case someone else will come along and redo it, or B, it wasn't, really, in which case no harm no foul. Otherwise I try not to let it get me down. It's just the internet, no sense in getting wound up about it. Have you ever got some guy making it their mission to redo your edits and compete with you? Like a troll? Is there a nice community amongst wiki editors, or is it a mostly solo endeavor? Possibly. I can't say I've noticed any. I find Wikipedia a generally collegial atmosphere, at least for myself. I try not to lock horns with too many people, though I'm sure I've ruffled more than a few feathers along the way. I know there are pockets of unpleasantness, as there are with any online community, but the places I tend to hang out are pleasant. Close bracket. Would you consider yourself an edit addict? Yes, an edit addicted autodidact. Dig it? Where's your primary source of research? Depends on the topic. Books, mostly, usually encyclopedias. I like starting with an encyclopedia entry because it shows me that someone else has already deemed the topic notable. I'll turn to web sources too, anything that helps me flesh a subject out. Although that's tricky for older subjects, sometimes the only material is available in undigitized books, for instance. But I'll use anything, so long as it passes a smell test. Close bracket. As you may know, many institutions tell students that Wikipedia isn't a credible source, therefore you cannot use it. Do you believe that Wiki is credible, or do you think it still needs a lot of work to reach that point? It's credible. Studies show it to be more credible than many print sources. Also, I've found some real howlers of mistakes in print sources. Which is just to say, use a variety. But if I were teaching I wouldn't ban students from using Wikipedia. It's a potential source just like any other. Oh, the hero we all deserve. Good on you, mate. How did this all begin? How many hours a week do you typically spend editing wiki? What else do you do with your time? You've personally inspired me to finally donate to Wikipedia. It began back in 2004. I was an early adopter of Wikipedia. I was in college at the time, and it kept turning up in my search results on Google. And one day I decided to finally play around with it and see what would result. This was the result, eventually. Peter Francisco. Be gentle. It's far from my best work. It allows me to scratch the academic itch without having to go for a PhD. Haven't looked back since. I spend, on average, 2 to 3 hours a night on Wikipedia. Maybe more, on the weekends, but it varies. Otherwise I work, same as the next guy. Sing in a choir one night a week. Do grocery runs now and again, that sort of thing. And thanks for your donation. Close bracket. What subjects are you most interested in researching? Are there subjects you don't enjoy, but still research, so that they will be represented on Wikipedia? To answer the second part first, not really. I tend to avoid hard sciences and things like that because I don't really understand them. Otherwise, I enjoy history. I enjoy the humanities. Virginia history is especially fascinating to me. Art history, for obvious reasons. African topics sometimes. The South Pacific. I'm eclectic. Close bracket. What are your favorite types of Wikipedia articles to edit/write, and why? Most of the stuff I do is biographical. Artists, mostly, because my degree is in art history. But also musicians, politicians, historical figures. I suppose my favorite type of biography is of someone who wouldn't ordinarily be part of the historical record, from an unlikely profession. For instance, I just purchased a dictionary of American folk art, and there are multiple entries in there for Fractor artists. See Fractor, folk art, for more. I'm looking forward to writing them up. I don't believe there's a traditional general interest encyclopedia out there which contains multiple entries for Fractor artists, or shape note composers, or notable shakers, or other such figures. Does that make sense? It's not just about expanding the historical record. For me, it's about having fun with taxonomy. Words I thought I'd never say in my life, honestly. What ways do you think Wikipedia can be improved? Personally, I think it's a bit disorganized and anarchic. It's just people all over doing random things, and sometimes that generates wonder. But it's just so disorganized. I actually feel like it's gotten more organized over time, but I take your point. I do a lot of stuff involving categorization. One thing I think has helped Wikipedia a lot is having categorization taken over by relevant wiki projects. So, for instance, art lovers develop categories based on their interests. Musicians, same, etc. I think it's helped expand and refine the taxonomy. I hear rumblings that categorization is going to change in a couple of years, but that's a different matter.